Now we're all here, the first thing I have to do is offer a trigger warning, because the subject that I'm just about to cover is by orders of magnitude more triggering than any other topic I've experienced. And the conversations within it normally start off okay, but they soon descend akin to a couple of children arguing over the front seat of a car on a 5-minute journey. And it puts me in mind of the scene from The Matrix when Neo is told he's in a simulation, then proceeds to get extremely angry. Well, what if I told you everything about that scene is wrong? You see what I did there? A more seasoned reality shifter will understand that. But when watching these videos, if a feeling of irritation is felt, then the information is not for that soul. And hopefully I've put together a conceptual way of understanding reality shifting. And my own personal struggle with the construct has been one of a complete loss of health. So could you think of a more motivating reason to try and find a place which you could be completely free of pain and suffering? So in layman's terms, what is reality shifting? Well, reality shifting is a journey of knowing, and believing in something to be so is not enough. There are no shortcuts to this knowledge, and it is often remarked that belief is the enemy of knowing. And there's no requirement to prove all things. We have free will, and that's an inalienable right. If it was possible to watch a few YouTube videos to start reality shifting, there'd be no sense of accomplishment. Be like buying a first place medal. There's no sense of achievement. And to be honest with you, reality shifting is just not that simple. The construct will only allow the incarnated activated soul to shift once truth is known. There's no point believing truth, that would be oxymoronic. Truth must be known unequivocally in order for the soul to be allowed to shift. And the construct will offer up new levels of understanding and pathways to travel which are unattainable to the unactivated soul. And anything that's been previously learned by the soul in the past must be placed on a metaphorical shelf to access at a later time if it is deemed important or required. As we incarnate onto this world, we find ourselves without knowledge. As we sunk through the drunken waters, forgetting everything we previously knew, we find ourselves born into a cult. And we weren't just born into a cult, it was a cult within a cult within a cult within a cult within a, and so on, you get my point. But as we leave each cult, increasing in size and numbers up until and including worldwide follies where the cult is almost all-encompassing, the reality-shifting soul will find an inner peace. And if you haven't come across this subject before and you're still with me, well done, by the way. Alright, so how to start reality shifting? Step 1, prove all things. Prove all things. Now this is an essential step, and you can start by using logical consistencies or even moving on to the scientific method, which was developed by a couple of philosophers ironically, and in its most basic format you've got if A then B, if A not B. And you can use this when you look into things like the ontological primitives and you really start to delve in the depths of them questions which we're born to ask. Now the other question I find interesting is, where do beliefs come from? Now a logical answer to that question would be they come from the people who were here before, and you would put that down as that's a logical step if you look at time linearly. But we're going to come back to that question later, so place that on a metaphorical shelf, because there is more than one way to skin a cat, as they say. So what is the next step on the journey? Once a soul activates free will choice within the construct to investigate the phenomena, that soul must be humble, because what is seen cannot be unseen and what is learned cannot be unknown. It truly is opening up Pandora's box, and once you walk the path, there is no going back. You might be imprisoned if you don't take each step with consideration. If an escape, a portal, a door or a route is observed within the matrix, then treat it as a reward. There's no requirement to go through it. Some who tread this path regret their decision massively, and that was indicated, demonstrated by the character Cypher within the Matrix movie. But if one chooses this path, the grass is greener, the lights are brighter and the taste is sweeter, for all the risk and rewards that reality shifting entails. So, Once you've done your basics understanding, it's time to move to the next step. I have been reality shifting my whole life. I didn't realise that was what I was doing until 2016. That's when I knew unequivocally that time itself was omnidirectional. It is the flower of life tangentially touching each inner side of Metatron's cube, and on each connection contained within the sacred geometry of the flower, a different example of the past and future are playing out simultaneously, adjusting 13 times a year according to the collective and the singular. Think of it as timelines just slightly out of phase. Travelling up and down Jacob's ladder within the construct, there can be obtained soul lessons. There is no right or wrong path to tread. The education is always present for the individual soul, no matter what path has been chosen within the flower of life. The past, there are many, and there are many stories that have been told, and if one looks close enough and you know where to look, you will find residue of these stories all over the place. And that is why that question we put on that metaphorical shelf earlier about beliefs can also come from the future, because the cat in the box is neither dead nor alive, because there is no box, and the information is the key, and any soul can access the information, but it's knowing where to place the key, and more importantly, which direction to turn the key once you've found the lock to place it in. And that goes for every single soul that incarnates here on this place we call Earth. Observing my own reality shifting journey, it wasn't long before I realised how to use the ley lines within the Earth to manipulate shifts. Many of these shifts occur when accidentally crossing these points unintentionally by awakened souls already on the journey, nascent to their movements and influences on their shared reality. But learning how to dowse, how to incorporate the influence of crystals are just a couple of ways you can increase your reality shifting capabilities. And I know this is a long way down the rabbit hole for a first video, so I'm going to quote a line from Pink Floyd. Everything under the sun is in tune, and the sun is eclipsed by the moon. I often wonder, when I think of Roger Waters writing these lyrics back in the 70s, whether he was being channeled, or whether he was in some secret possession of some ancient knowledge he was trying to place under our nose, or were the Pink Floyd even given them lyrics to put into their songs from a higher power to place the truth in plain sight for all to see. I personally think the lyrics did come through Roger Waters, even if they were from a higher power. And with lyrics like two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl year after year, or two suns in the sunset, or maybe strangers passing in the street, by chance two separate glances meet, I am you and what I see is me. With lyrics this deep and profound, the Pink Floyd's work is certainly worth a look. But if you want to walk this path and you wish you were here walking it, I think at this point in the video I need to stop, because I need to offer you a warning. The construct will take everything away from you. It will place NPCs in your way, causing obstructions at every turn. And only when the lessons of the construct have been learned, then the construct removes the NPCs like they were never there in the first place. Material possessions will be lost, and sometimes health is lost too. And in my experience of this phenomenon, a near-death experience is a very common occurrence of people on this journey. The construct is available to everybody to use, no matter how old or young, and anything is better than exposing yourself to the mind virus that is entertainment. This is the junk offered up by the narrative of the Matrix to stop individuals from treading their own path, no matter how young or old they are. It's there constantly in the background, trying to pull your attention away from your true path and destiny. But with great sacrifice comes great reward, and a soul on this journey will soon lose any interest in the narrative of the Matrix. Now there's a plus. And any attempt to feign interest in it will soon be shunned by billions of NPCs on their own unique journey from cradle to grave on their pre-programmed destination. But remember, every single NPC does have free will to activate their soul to travel the journey if they so wish. How does one know if a reality shift has been successful? Well, there's only one way of knowing for sure, and that's to look at your own individual past and see if it matches up with your own individual memory. Now, it might match up with other people's memories, but it won't be exact and precise, and you will soon find the differences immediately after each new moon. Walking around the grounds of Titchfield Abbey, it soon becomes obvious why they chose this location, especially when you look at the majesty of the towers over my shoulder there, the giant number 11 sticking up right over the node point of the two serpent energies we refer to as the spine of Albion. And it's no accident that Shakespeare would have performed his plays right up there on the second or third floor to place that intention within the construct of this place we call Earth. One of the frustrations of the phenomena is it can only ever be proven to oneself. I've put together a metaphor to help with the conceptualization of the phenomena, so let's go back to the 1980s for a little bit of nostalgia. When the Pac-Man exits the side of the screen, leaving the maze through a portal, an observer of the game has no knowledge of the journey that has just taken place. Pac-Man appears on the other side of the same screen, leaving the maze and ghosts behind. The maze being analogous to the flower of life and the ghosts being the possibilities. From the perspective of Pac-Man's journey, the memory of the way the dots were consumed will not match the recorded history of any observer of the screen. It may match temporarily, but with each passing moon cycle recorded as the passage of time, then more variations have been played out. Pac-Man's personal history of the consumption of dots will remain with Pac-Man's recorded memory on the single journey through the flower of life. Each reset of the maze, Pac-Man's digital representation manifests as the protagonist through each spawn or incarnation, where the individual struggle of the maze is in fact being guided. Pac-Man's whole experience is one of an avatar. A crystal will maintain the knowledge for each incarnation and possibly keep score. I will be impressed if that actually helps. But before one can find a portal, first one must find oneself. Now, there is an order to things, and this place has rules. So, borrowing a line from Pink Floyd again, all you touch and all you see is all your life will ever be, is another perfect little decoy in the lucky dip of truth. Now, I've enjoyed making this video, and I hope you've enjoyed watching it. I'm sure you have lots of questions, and I will slowly address them in the videos to come. So, hopefully I will see you there. Come and join me.